Rebooked, the show where we talk about the men and women who be slapping that meat in the middle of the square circle, the stories they tell in the process. I don't know why I sounded like a Muggsy Jones there.
Doing baby
like
talk?
I went more like
I'm not into it.
I went more not a baby talk. I did more like an old timey New York gangster from the 1930s or something like that.
Talk like this, and
Who
the way
talk like that?
they swap in the middle of the ring.
Hey, have you ever heard?
Play it
you
back.
know, like
Play it back, Skin. I want to replay on the.
You guys suck. Now, as you can tell, Matt is back this week. I'm GB. You got Jake here yet again. We decided we wanted to wear yellow. Matt didn't get the memo.
No,
you
guys don't talk to me anymore. I go on
really
one
don't.
vacation. You guys stop talking to me.
As it should be. How dare you
Don't
abandon?
go on vacation.
Yeah,
I
lesson learned. It's like we live in a capitalist society. Okay, how dare you go on vacation? Work, work, work. Okay, that's it. Haven't you heard Rihanna's song? Damn it. But that being said, I do have some things I want to talk with you guys. Because Matt, over the weekend, I saw that you had something that I have been wanting to consume for quite a while now, and I can't seem to find it in my local store. And that is the Oreo Coca-Cola beverage. Oh, wait a minute. Discerning perspectives here, because I know Jake loves some creative, treats. We've had a great road trip where we were talking about that. But Matt, you had it. You seem to enjoy it. What do you think about the Oreo Coca-Cola?
It's fine. It's like
It's fine.
I've tried. I like weird stuff too. So whenever Coke, if you've noticed, has been doing these like limited editions. They did like the Stardust and like the magical one. Like, so I tried all those and I hated them. They were like weird cherry-ish, peachish, but they didn't mesh. So I was like, all right, screw it. I'll give this one a go. They also did Coke flavored Oreos in conjunction with it.
Yeah, I did see those Coke flavored Oreos. I don't know how I feel about that.
This worked better than I expected it to be disgusting, and it wasn't. I'm not saying I'm like, oh, this replaces it. Like, I would rather have a regular Coke Zero for a refreshing cola beverage.
Jake.
But this was like, okay, that's not too bad.
Fair enough.
Let us have it, Jake.
Jacob, your rebuttal.
It tastes unnecessary.
I agree with that, but does that denote bad?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. I mean, like, the order that you taste things in doesn't make sense.
Oh, that was a great thing. It was like, it's not, it was like, does that make it bad? He was like, it doesn't make it good.
I mean, the order of things that you taste is odd. Because like it is Coca-Cola, then chocolate, then artificial sweetener.
Yeah.
That's the order of events. And really it needs to start Coke, finish chocolate. If you were gonna do anything, that's how it should. And it just like,
I agree with that actually.
I had 3 sips of it and was like, I get it. And I poured the rest out. It's
and
just
I don't know if they have do they have a full sugar version? I don't know.
No, they don't. It would be better if they had a regular Coca-Cola version and not the zero sugar.
And I'm a huge Coke Zero fan, especially over Diet Coke. But in this case, with this flavoring, I think you needed extra sweetness, real sweetness.
Yeah.
Yep.
And because the
you guys in the
Oreo
R&D
flavor
room.
was there, but it to Jake's point, it felt like a weird aftertaste.
Yes.
As opposed to like the primary flavor.
It was like you sprinkled sweet and low over an Oreo, dipped it in Coke, and then ate it. Like that's
Got it.
And no,
should have gotten you guys in the R&D room. Clearly, you have some perspectives on this. Well,
discerning palates.
I'm nothing if not a man of science.
You see, I interact with my friends algos quite a bit. That sounds sexual, but trust me, it's not. So I interact. I'm always seeing what my friends are posting all the time, and I also saw that my dear friend Jake has also been trying to make a plea because he wants to open up a Waffle House here in LA. Now, Jake, I want you to give our listeners the 30-second pitch on why Waffle House. You may not even need 30 seconds, but I want you to explain why Waffle House is God's gift to humanity.
Danger. There is nothing like eating a waffle with a looming sense of danger. Okay? Be it from the waffle itself or your surroundings.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever had breakfast on the face of a cliff?
Can't say I have.
Yes.
No.
That's a little what I imagine it would be like. It's
I would assume so, yes.
You know, it's like if prison food were good, I imagine it would be a Waffle House. You know, you kind of got to eat it protected, right? You're worried about who's serving it to you, but also like they're probably the ones who are going to protect you from everybody else. Like it's Waffle House isn't just a restaurant. It's an ecosystem. Okay. And that in part is what's so special about it. That waffle iron that made the waffle you're eating.
Mm-hmm. Let them have it.
Is easily Depression era. And
the best.
And you can taste the history when you're eating a waffle at Waffle House. Man, you get those hash browns scattered, covered, smothered, chunked if you're feeling squirrely. And
oh God, I'm dying. This is too good.
And it's the best. It's the best.
I have one quick story. I did an event one time many years ago in Atlanta. It was like Smite World Championship, and super fun event. And one of the things I really wanted to do was go to a Waffle House. So and it was like one of the first times I'd gone to Atlanta. So at this point in my life, going to Waffle House was like not as common. So I was like, oh, I'm excited. Let's go to Waffle House. So we wake up in the morning and we just had a wild snowstorm in Atlanta, which was very unprecedented, obviously, because it's, you know, Georgia and stuff, but it can't get very cold over there. But it was like slate on the ground, like slated snow or whatever what they call that. Sleeted. Sorry, sleet down on the ground and stuff. So it made it really difficult to drive. So anyway, I don't drive. So we get to the Waffle House because I still wanted waffles, and we're excited. Sit down in the corner. Lady comes up to us, says, "What can I get you?" We're like, "Hey, I want to do some waffles and this." She's like, "Hate to tell you, darling, but we don't have waffles." And I'm like, "So what are you, just house?"
Oh, so
are you just like what? So the waffle maker broke and they couldn't get a person in from like the repair shop to fix it because of the sleet or the slate on the ground. And yeah. So I didn't
now
have
let me learn you a little something about Waffle House.
Let me learn you. Okay.
Let me learn you a little something about Waffle House.
Alabama, let's go.
This is real. There is an unofficial they call it the Waffle House Index. This is 100% true. FEMA uses what they call the Waffle House Index to determine how bad supply chain issues are in a certain area due to a natural disaster, because Waffle Houses, for some reason, have an incredible ability to stay open through anything. See, look, yeah, this is 100%. Look at this. The Waffle House Index. It's 100% real. Where they go into a town, they go to a Waffle House. Is the full menu available? Then it ain't that bad. If it's limited, then it's iffy.
Crazy.
But if it's closed, you're fucked. Like that's basically what the Waffle House Index.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Waffle House is like a modern day saloon.
That's crazy.
If you ever wanted to experience the Wild West, go to a Waffle House, because there's random music playing, there's a jukebox, there's a threat of a fight breaking out constantly. It's like not really clean. It's not a place you want to use a bathroom, but they will make a hell of an omelet.
Damn.
I mean,
yes. That's
All
what to get this back to wrestling. That is the spot for the boys on late night drives and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, gaming. It's same thing in gaming, man. We're done with DreamHack. We're done with like Halo in Atlanta. Like at the end of the event, everyone's in the Waffle House. No matter
after playing football in high school, we went to Waffle House after every single game.
The only other spot in my life that has rivaled Waffle House for convenience late night is Denny's and IHOP. But it's basically it's Denny's, IHOP, but Waffle House is
IHOP.
IHOP is not very good anymore. It used to be good, and then it stopped being good, and that depresses me. Also, I will never forgive them for IHOB, International House of Burgers. You can go to hell with that one. Okay, it looks like we're never getting that IHOP sponsorship. But I tell you what, the Waffle House, we'll take a sponsorship for like I don't know, some gravy. Or some shit.
Hey, Waffle House, much like you, we're open.
We're 24/7, baby.
24/7. We're open for anything.
We're down to do business, Waffle House. All right, well, let's go ahead and do some business. And that business is the business of talking pro wrestling storylines. So we got a lot going on in the world of wrestling this week, as per the usual. And this time around, we're going to be yapping about the upcoming AEW Grand Slam. It is tonight.
Speaking of Denny's.
That's true. To give you everything. That's tonight. We're recording this on Wednesday because I had a little bit of a delay on my end. So, guys, this is Grand Slam week. Okay. And for context, just to illustrate how much of a week it is, blammo, look at the amount of things that are going to be taking place this week. We got Saraya versus Jamie Hayter in a Saraya rules match, going over some of the matches that, we haven't really covered all that much. You got Jeff Jarrett, Hangman. That actually is going to be a wild one. Okada, Sammy Guevara. My personal favorite, which is the Hispanic Heritage Month Lucha Libre 3-way between the Beast Mortos, Hologram, and Jalistico, which I don't think I've seen Jalistico before, but there are some other good ones on here. But the primary thing that we're going to talk about, fellas, is what's going on Dynamite tonight. There's a lot of really good things happening in this particular card too, but want to kind of get your thoughts overall heading into this Grand Slam. How you feeling? Are you guys excited for it? Because it seems like it's going to be pretty hype.
I mean, Grand Slam is always, I think it's the only... I feel like for me, I've talked about this before about how like I'm not a super big fan of like these TV like Dynamite specials that they book like pay-per-views every now and then. I'm like, I'm an old head, but I like the build to a pay-per-view, do a pay-per-view on the weekend and then keep running your TV. I just think it's more streamlined. Yeah. So I've never been a fan of these like Battle of the Belts and Fighter Fest and stuff that are just on Wednesdays. But this has been the one that they've built up the most. They get one of the biggest crowds for this. It's a big ass building. If you've ever been by Arthur Ashe, and so it does feel a little bit different. So I think my hype level is more than it normally would be. I'll put it that way.
I'll take that. I think that's. I mean, look, I agree. I'm very stoked for this just because the matches on the card look really good, and some of the stories coming into Grand Slam is actually going to be pretty fascinating to see unfold. Maybe not the most like detailed, but Jake, you and I last week we talked about the tag team championship match, and you weren't too thrilled about it. How are you? I
have a flag on the play, by the way.
Okay, go for it. We had a flag on the play,
and I'm gonna call Jake's ass out here a little bit.
Okay. Wait a minute. We're getting some. It's violent.
Because as some other people did point out, though, and I would say I'm 100% on Jake's team for the critique of that. That happened to us in NXT a lot with that Dusty Rhodes tournament. They'd put two top guys together. They run through every established tag team in NXT. It was kind of annoying for us in that division. Mm-hmm. But as people have pointed out, and as many people who do watch this kind of product, which is a bit of more of a nerdy, deep into the wrestling lore, Will and Kyle have a ton of experience teaming together. United Empire was a long-running stable in Japan. So now they're not as like locked in as a duo like all the time as these other teams. So the point, I think, does still have weight. But it's not like they just like, hey, you're Will, you're Kyle, good to meet you. Should we team up?
Our mother's names are Martha. Like it's, I mean, no, I know it's not the same. I know it's not exactly the same thing because of their history together. But like that's just long been a peeve of mine.
And I agree with that overall.
And it just felt like the opportunity to talk about it.
No, but I do understand what you're saying, Jake, and I feel like that is a completely valid critique because of the fact that AEW does have a little bit of a history of being a bit more on the, we're gonna take a few liberties with some of these stories or lack of stories and just put a match together. But I really, really did like how this particular tag team match came about, because with the premise of Don Callis coming up to Will saying, hey, you owed me for me just letting you walk from the family earlier. Also, you do have a track record of winning these particular matches. And I want to bet on a guy who's won this match every single time he's got in it rather than, putting Fletcher with Takeshita. Right, which who knows what could have happened there. And even though he didn't say that, I think that it's still, well, he didn't say the Takeshita part, but he did say like, you have been very good in these matches. I thought that was really, really cool justification. And it kind of now makes Will Ospreay a bit more of a target when they do these casino gauntlet matches more often, which I hope they do. And I hope that if they include Will, they make it very sparingly where like he's in it, but he's, like in it for a storyline reason or something like that, because I want to see them continue this, like Will Ospreay's just too good in these types of environments. I think it's a really cool story. But anyway, that's my rant. I'm excited for this match. I think it's going to be who wins though? Who do you think wins?
Young Bucks.
Yeah,
I don't think a single title changes hands at this thing. I don't think a single title changes.
When you look at it, I'm like, I don't. But given
it's certainly not going to be Nigel. It's
nope.
It's not going to be Mariah May. And
then the only other one you have is tag team, and then you have Roderick Strong versus Hook, and for the FTW championship. And
and then on is it the Collision episode with Jack's Open Challenge? Maybe something surprising happens, but I don't see that either.
Yeah,
because they've invested a lot in Jack. So
which then just makes it another week in AEW, but we changed the name, which goes to your point, Matt.
Yeah,
to a degree. I mean, they're putting higher profile stories and matches in the spotlight, so like I get that. I honestly though, given everything just laid out, if there's any match to have a title, I think it could be this one. And I mean, you drape Will in a little extra gold. He's kind of your golden child right now, as it is anyway.
Yeah.
And then maybe when this Callis situation finally does explode, because I do think it's going to reach a boiling point sooner than later, as opposed to just like letting you walk away. Okay, Willie boy. Like if Don Callis is half the heel he should be and is.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna let it slide that easily.
Don
wait a minute.
Strikes me as like what now?
Hold on, I just got some fantasy booking. Sorry, but this actually might add to this, Jake, and I think you might be adding to what I was going to say. Fantasy booking. Hold on a second. No, I think it is. They win. Okay.
Who?
What's
Kyle
his face?
and Will.
Ospreay and Will. Ospreay and Fletcher. Ospreay and Fletcher. They win. Okay.
I could see Ospreay and Will winning.
I could
see
Ospreay
them
and Will
doing
winning.
that.
It's very true. But
Yeah.
but Don Callis comes in and he's like, "Hey, thank you so much for the tag titles, Will. Give them to me now." So then Will was like, "No, I earned this with Kyle." Right? That could be the way that they create, because it's either going to come one of two ways, right? It's either going to be they lose, and then Don Callis is like, "All right, I'm mad," and then beats the shit out of Will Ospreay, and then you get that, or you get this shit, the whole hand me over the title gimmick. Thank you for winning it for me. type of joint. Does that seem feasible?
It seems feasible. It just depends on where you go from there. I mean, I would imagine he would then try to put it on Takeshita and Kyle. Like, all right, they'll run with them now, and then you have that the kind of a similar thing which you have with Yuta right now, where maybe Takeshita's all in. Screw that. He knocks the crap out of Will or whatever, and Kyle's the conflicted one of, I'm a champion and this is my faction, but Will's my boy. Like he kind of ends up in that scenario. So I mean, there could be some intriguing storytelling.
Yeah, I think it'll be fascinating. I mean, I don't really foresee, because the other person that I am anticipating coming back sometime soon has to be Powerhouse Hobbs. So I could see a world where you get a Powerhouse Hobbs and Takeshita tag team, even though when Hobbs left, it felt like the story was leaning more to Don Callis being the reason why they keep losing. So I don't know if they want to keep having Hobbs tied to the hip with Callis, but we'll see. We'll see. That being said, though, Jake, Mox and Darby, the hell happens there? I mean, like, who the hell wins in that match?
Mox.
You think Mox takes it?
Yeah, they're building up BCC too much for this just to like end in a loss in a single. I mean, this is because this is his first singles match since they've started running roughshod over everybody, is it not?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There's no way that that'll completely. I'm just going to say completely stifle any momentum they have if they just lose all of a sudden. But I could see it being something like, Darby gets some kind of, roll up or schoolboy pin and that pisses off Mox, and then they just beat the shit out of him. I could see something like that happening, but I don't think that they're like, with all this attention that they're putting on them, I don't think that he loses.
Yeah, I think if not more than once, at least one, Darby will have this match won. Shenanigans will incur, whether it's Claudio Pac, distraction of the ref kind of things or whatever.
Yeah.
Darby will have this won at least one at a time, like surefire. He would have won if not for X. But they're clearly going to Mox Bryan at Wrestle Dream. And I think, but then I think you keep building Darby in the background, and maybe Darby's the guy Bryan puts over on his way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's the one big thing Darby kind of hasn't done yet. He's that kind of day one rising star, has always kind of been there. Because I thought it would have been Swerve last year, but then Swerve won his title. So he kind of got his moment and everything like that. So maybe that's the long-term plan there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, what has created such a fun dynamic, I think, fun for me, I find it compelling. Others may not find it so compelling, is that we really don't know how the hell any of this is actually going to play out with Bryan Danielson. Not necessarily, we know he's going to beat Nigel McGuinness, right? There's like no reason for him to lose to Nigel, even though that would be hype as shit. But this matchup is going to be violent. I think it's going to illustrate just how like talented Nigel is as a wrestler. It's going to harken back to their feuds, and the this is very much like, this is Bryan. This is like a match he wants. This is a match both of these men want before they both hang up their boots forever. And this is a good time for them to do it, right?
I don't agree with that.
Because I don't know really who else you can kind of put into this picture, given where things are. Swerve's not here. MJF's not here.
I get that. I just this story with Nia, and again, maybe I'm biased because he's a friend of mine, but he came out of retirement. He was gone for so long, and then these guys do have this awesome history to play with, and this feels very shotgun.
But I don't think this is for the title. Is this for the title?
Why wouldn't it be?
Because of what Matt just said. I'm almost certain Nigel has made, because he's not trying to win the belt. He's just trying to beat Bryan. That's all he cares about. He's made that very clear in a lot of his.
Well, it also has this whole caveat: if Bryan is cleared to wrestle.
Yeah.
So, which is strange, but regardless of whether it's for the title, whatever, just still getting here to this match feels very shotgun.
I don't disagree with it.
3 weeks.
I do not
something
disagree
that
with
is
it.
a pretty a 20-year rivalry. Like, we never thought we'd get it again. All this stuff, and then, like, within 3 weeks, all right, we have the match.
But it's also like, and to just play devil's advocate here for a minute.
Also, the guy who won the match that Nigel lost, that he came back in, Nigel's getting a title shot or a match before he is? Just a little strange.
We should look this up because I do not think this is a title match. I think this is just he wanted a match.
I mean, I'm looking at the tweet. The tweet does not say for the AEW World Championship. It just says AEW World Champion versus Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah.
If Bryan is cleared to fight.
Yeah, because I'm even going on the AEW website right now, and
which I'll be honest, if it's not for the title, interests me less.
Well, I'm interested in this because I've seen these guys' matches and shit, so like in the past, when my buddy was like telling me about pro wrestling again and stuff, and was introducing me to like Ring of Honor and some of the stuff that was going on in Independence, because like CM Punk had just done like the pipe bomb, and like I came back when Bryan lost to Sheamus in that WrestleMania match in like 15 seconds. It was like my first WrestleMania back. From like a lapse of not watching pro wrestling for a really long time. And a lot of it was because I just wanted to see really good pro wrestling. I loved Bret Hart. I loved Shawn Michaels. I didn't really care much for this, like 5 Moves of Doom stuff and, that they were doing with WWE at the time. So I saw like the Generico and Kevin Steen matches that were really awesome. When Tanahashi rolled up to Ring of Honor and did like a brief run there, the Okada matches as well. And then I also saw like the older ones too, guys were like Tyler Black, aka Seth Rollins, and Nigel and Bryan. Like these guys, old Samoa Joe. I mean, these guys were like trying to kill each other. Good Lord.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you go back and watch some of these pay-per-views in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Goodness gracious me, these men had a point to prove. So it's kind of cool to see where they all are now. That being said, though, how else, to play devil's advocate, how else do you get this match that Bryan clearly wants to do and Nigel is cleared and ready to do? How else do you get this match that no one thought was ever going to be possible, up and going? You don't put this on a Dynamite that is just like a random Dynamite, like Grand Slam.
No, you put it on pay-per-view.
I mean, you can put it on pay-per-view, but like, I don't know. Like,
what do you mean you don't know? What's to not know?
Feels like there is a deeper story that they want to tell with Bryan's final run, and this is kind of like the way that Cody's run is kind of had like a few stopgap matches along the way. That this is just what it feels like. It's just this is a stopgap match.
That's my critique, is that it shouldn't be. There's something this deep, this rich in history. And with this, I think a big deal that the guy came out of freaking retirement.
I agree. It's just it's not a big deal to AEW viewers. Like Nigel's the commentator on Collision. You know what I mean? Which is, I think a lot of people do like love Nigel. I mean, he's rated the #1, right? Like people love this guy, but I don't know. I think it's just, I can't imagine, like, is there a cleaner way that you could have done this? Maybe, sure, but then, like, you're not going to have a lot of time. How many matches are you going to get out of Bryan in this time frame? Because it felt like they just needed to give him a break. Like, he's been off TV for 3 weeks now.
Right.
So, I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. In any case, though, Bryan's probably going to show up, obviously. It's wrestling. Goes without saying. It's going to be exciting. I just have no idea what comes out of this. But question for the panel, though, do we get some Blackpool Combat Club intervention? I'm assuming so. Yes.
In Nigel's match, no.
Well, toward the end of it, or not intervention, but maybe do we get like a post BCC thing? Yeah.
especially if that's the main event, which I assume it would be, obviously, with the world champion being in there, whether it's for the title or not. I assume Nigel Bryan is the main event. So, I mean, especially if, like we assume, Mox is winning against Darby, I think at the very least you have a stare off, if not a beat down. Yeah, I think that's very possible.
Yeah, that's fair. Other question. Do you think we get Nigel in the Blackpool Combat Club? And how cool would it be if he continues to be a commentator, but then he's doing like a heel, kind of like what Bully Ray was doing in the old Aces and Eights TNA run, even though it was a little annoying. At a certain point, it got like kind of frustrating to listen to.
What do you think? A little bit of like back and forth kind of thing?
Yeah, like, you know, he's like like you remember when like Bischoff would go and do commentary on behalf of NWO, right? Like he becomes like he's like the heel BCC commentator. I don't know. I just think it'd be, or just him in BCC, just him in Blackpool Combat Club. Is that a possibility, or is that just too far fetched?
No, I mean it's wrestling. There ain't much that's too far fetched.
That's true.
You know what I mean? God damn.
True words, my friend. True words.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't necessarily see it, but like if it happened, it wouldn't like shock me.
Yeah. It's gonna be entertaining. Of course, Grand Slam tonight. Of course, we'll talk about what happens from Grand Slam and the fallout of that on next week's show. But we want to hear from you. What are you excited for Grand Slam tonight? Sound off in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. And when we return, we're going to dive into some WWE. Be right back. Hey, everyone, if you want to join us on Discord, you can go ahead and click the link in the description down below right here on YouTube, as well as on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Join us on Discord so you can be a part of the conversation when we talk about all sorts of things happening in the world of professional wrestling, on top of the fact that we're just a couple nerds. We just like talking about wrestling, talk storylines, talking all the fun stuff. Check us out on Discord. You can click the link down below. We'd love to have you join us. It's a good time, and we'll see you there. All right, folks, welcome back to Rebooked. So we covered some AEW news. Now let's dive into WWE. Now, WWE has been cooking this week across the board, both Raw and SmackDown. Usually Raw's the one that's been like number one, but SmackDown has been excellent this week. But we're going to start real quick, though, with Monday Night Raw because, folks, Jake, you called it. You freaking called it, dude. The Kaiju match is happening, and it's even being advertised as a monster, last monster standing. Jake, how do you feel about this and how cool this whole thing has been?
I'm excited about it. My only thing is I wish that it weren't on Raw. I wish that it were at Bad Blood. I don't know what the card looks like for Bad Blood right now necessarily, but that just feels like, I don't know, that feels like a match that's begging to be on Bad Blood and not a Monday Night Raw. Now, I know that we are after the events of the main event of Monday Night Raw, we're trying to give it more of a anything can happen on any given show kind of feel. So from that perspective, I do understand that. I have to imagine that it's going to be the main event next week.
Yeah. Has to.
Because it has to, because I imagine there's going to be some property damage. So, because what are we doing if there's not going to be any property damage?
Yeah.
You know, I loved seeing it spill over into the entrance when Liv and Dom were coming in to Raw, and just them careening right through a merch table that for some reason was set up in the loading dock.
Oh, like, dude, that was so kind of funny.
Peculiar,
because I'm like, the whole time I'm like, why? Wait. Who would set that up?
Who are you selling merch to?
And then my wife pointed it out. She's like, "Why is there a merch table there? Who's walking back here?"
Sometimes the merch department table, they go wherever they can fit. You know, it's not a sales table. They're not selling them. Okay. They're organizing them there to give out and get signed and blah 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 blah.
There was pipe and drape. There was a fencing behind them with prices.
Oh, it was like it was a stand. Oh yeah, 'cause I didn't see this match. Okay,
no, it wasn't.
Then-
So what was great was that it wasn't even a match.
Yeah,
it
they
was
just kept
the
fighting.
start of the show. Liv and Dom walk right in, and they're just like doing their thing, jaunting through, and then out of nowhere, you just see Braun and Braun just beating Braun and Braun's son beating the crap out of each other, and then I think. Who got thrown through that table, Jake? Do you remember? They
both did.
They both did?
They both just like threw themselves through it, trying to kill each other.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so freaking cool. I loved it. So yeah, we're gonna get the last monster standing. Now, I had floated this idea last week, Matt. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Because what naturally should come out of this, in your experience, right? And we've seen these big, well-built feuds before. They've resulted in, more often than not, like a tag team or some continuing story of some kind, right? We see right now with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, and their battle has kind of led to the U.S. Championship being in the spotlight with LA Knight. This doesn't seem to be the case here. Not for the IC title, but do you think we can end up with a tag team title like run here for Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed?
Again, this is wrestling, man. Could we? Hell yeah, we could.
Should we?
I don't know. Their chemistry would be interesting. It would be a modern day a Kane and Big Show.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of deal. Like then you run into, and especially I think like right now in particular, the tag team scene outside of maybe the Viking Raiders when they're back together and healthy, like not a lot of big guys. It's the classic, how do you beat these monsters with, two little guys or something like that? Who beats the freaking Godzillas?
Yeah.
But that could also be an interesting story. They had Rey Mysterio win world titles. So anything can and probably will happen. I don't know if I see that here, though.
Okay.
That's a classic route. I don't know if I see that here, though.
Okay. What do you see happening?
I personally, I think this is a moment. This is a testing ground to me for Reed. This is a moment for Reed to break out.
Okay. So you think this is more of like this is Reed.
This is a launching pad for him.
This is his big moment.
Can or should, at least should. I think it should be. I don't know if it's designed that way. I think in part this whole little run he's been on is part of that process. But I think this is a chance for him to step away and step up and still show everyone what he can do and that he can stand and be this big intimidating star on his own, not as part of a little like the third wheel in an intercontinental title feud or just the monster we see once every 4 months to come and be the big guy in a match. Like he can come in week to week, be a star, stand on his own.
I'm just interested to see where the hell else this goes, because the whole thing in wrestling and in storytelling in general is increasing the stakes, right? It's about, you have to have escalation before there's de-escalation. And it has clearly escalated to this point. They've I mean, he tsunami'd right on top of a car that burst into sparks. Like, where else is this thing gonna go? I'm very interested to see what happens. I mean, because like it's clearly they got to be building something crazy. I think if this is where it's gone, like I said, it's got to be main event, because I think it would be funny if Pierce was like, "Listen, I'm creating a 10-minute buffer between the start of this match and the end of the last one, so all the talent can get the hell out of here. So that if you
put it in a quarry.
Yeah, I mean something. Yeah, exactly.
Shoot it off site. Put it in put it in a bombed out like crater or something like that.
Yeah, just tell everyone that they shot this in New Mexico where they tested nukes or something, and just be like, we had to keep this away from everyone. Like they built a fictional town. Just see the effects of a nuclear bomb.
They built Nuketown, like a bunch of Nuketowns.
And have them fight there. That would be awesome. And then it would be a kaiju match.
Yeah, I agree with you though. Where does it go? Right.
So all right, I'll answer that question with a question. Where did Peter and the chicken go on Family Guy? They kept going at it for years.
Yeah, it's true.
For years. And they maybe they go away for a while.
Yeah.
But they always come the minute they see each other. I mean, they always found ways to up the stakes. I don't know. It is that is our version of Peter Griffin and the chicken, where they just cannot keep away from each other, and it will always be
mortal
wild
enemies.
Yeah. No, I mean there were a lot of really cool like reasonings and the way that they got to things like the kaiju match. Like Adam Pearce is like, this is too much. Like at this point, like you guys are going to rip each other apart. So we got to do this the right way. So they do it like this. But then he goes on to do something else as well, which I thought was pretty awesome, because at the start of the show, he kept talking about how Dominic Mysterio just kept causing problems for the women's world championship. And every single time, once again, involved in the match. So guess what? Jake was right about the last monster standing. Matt, you called it. You were right, too. Dom is going in a shark cage and is going to be hoisted above the ring. I cannot believe, well, actually, I can believe it, but I cannot believe that we have just been right all over the place on this podcast.
I saw this one was coming down the pipe long.
It was pretty obvious.
The minute he turned on Rhea, like we knew he would at SummerSlam, I was like, oh, we've got to get, whether it was the ladder match to mirror the old custody ladder match from 2005 or whatever, or it was this. We knew one of these things had to happen. There's still part of me, I know it's just like to keep him away, right?
Yeah.
And two, I watch it, but they didn't specify. He's going to be hanging above the ring, right? Technically, they could put him next to the ring in a cage, but like, come on.
Because the only thing, logistically, the only thing is that they're going to have Hell in a Cell hanging up there too.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if there's a logistics thing or
It's just so stupid, man. Because
I would almost rather that he's just in a harness, just literally just hanging. Like just
dangling,
just kind of dangling. Yeah, like he parachuted into a tree. Like I just want. That's all I want. Just a gentle sway.
Or how about he's harnessed like a dog to like a pole at ringside, and she's like,
I'm watching this.
Like that old SNL sketch where Mike Myers is the kid, the hyperactive kid, and he has on that. Yes.
My friends were watching it and they're like, wait, so he's gonna go into a shark pit? And we're like, no, not a pit. He's going into a cage.
The sequel. That's the sequel to Braun and Bronson. That's the sequel to that one.
That's how it all ends, in a shark pit, obviously. So it's going to be hilarious for a variety of reasons. I'm expecting a lot of just funny moments from Dom.
Look, him screaming, "I can't go back."
That shit sent me, man.
I mean,
that shit sent me.
It was so good. It was so good.
If he attempts to, or if even successfully does it, I'll pop as well. To Job Bluth style regurgitate a key in the cage. Like you just see him trying to drink a bunch of booze or something, like, and try to get it up and get himself out of the cage. That would be my ultimate.
That would be great. It could be
he's got to hide some kind of tools or something in his mullet.
Or even if you just see him trying to swallow a key backstage before the match or something.
Free as a chicken. Oh man, that is so good. I'm very excited.
Maybe Finn can help him deposit a key.
Yeah.
or live
in a plastic, or live. Yeah, depending on how that play goes down.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many ways that this can go.
Have to keister a key to the shark cage.
We are going to obviously be following this with a very keen eye. This will go once again.
No,
everything about
even
this
better,
feud.
even better. Fantasy book it.
Oh, hold on. I gotta find the graphic because there's a million ones here. Boom.
Dom is going to take a cake into the cage with him that has a file baked into it. Mark my words. He's gonna
or a chicken tender.
Yeah, something like that. He's gonna reach into this cake and start trying to file the bars off of the cage.
He pulls out a chicken tendy from his pocket, breaks it open, and there's a key in there. Bro, I will die. Yeah. I will die. I'm expecting some Finn maybe to get involved, or maybe we get a new wrinkle to this, or is this the end?
I think Finn.
Is this it?
I think Finn does get involved because, especially after that revelation of I was the devil on his shoulder, pushing him towards Liv. After that whole revelation, I think there's something that's going to happen.
So then, do you think that this continues forward here? Because this would be the second time that they're fighting each other, I believe, for the title, right? Yeah, this is number 2. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we get a
hat trick. I think this is a good enough feud to get you the old the trio of matches that traditional big title feuds usually get. Somebody wins, there's a rematch, and then one more rematch to solidify person as champion or to change back.
Yeah.
So I think we could get to, would Survivor Series be next?
Yes, Survivor Series War Games.
I'm wondering if there's a chance that we see 2 War Games matches. If we have a Raw one and a SmackDown one.
Possibly.
That's a
possibility. Then you could have, Judgment Day versus, and have it like be a mixed.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be cool.
You've already kind of established you got like the Terror Twins and you have Jey Uso. You need to get another person in there. Who could that possibly be to get into to mix it up?
Some of the LWO or Ray has been kind of with Damian. They've been kind of cool. And
hell, even New Day, because New Day's got a claim to, they fought them for those titles last week. That could further cause friction between Woods and Kofi.
It's true.
So I don't know. There's a lot of different routes you could go with that.
There really is. Well, we'll see. I think story-wise, again, these have been all set up incredibly well. We're very intrigued by the directions that this can go in. But sometimes you get like long builds, right? And you get a good sometimes you get some long builds, you get to see how a story can unfold, and then sometimes something just happens out of nowhere and you're just like, damn, did not see that one coming. Because folks, Jey Uso is a singles champion in WWE. He is the new Intercontinental Champion after defeating Braun Breaker. I honestly, again, we all just said it. No one's, not that I didn't see it coming, because I want to say this was starting to feel kind of obvious with the way that they were talking about it on the show. But the fact that Braun Breaker just won the belt, and we're in this era of like long title reigns, and this one swaps over after just one title defense. But talk about Braun in a second. Jey Uso, though, is a freaking champion.
Hell yes.
And that's awesome. So I guess the first thing is first to talk about Jey. Do we feel like this was the best call that they could make to put that belt on Jey in Ontario, California?
So I have thoughts.
Oh,
I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say
and opinions. And opinions.
You love this stuff too much.
Go for it. What is it?
But so yeah, like everyone, and our producer Scan kind of shared this thoughts with us too. Is like it was kind of a lose-lose, win-win sort of situation because Braun is pretty new into his title reign, but Jay needed a freaking attaboy. He's been main event Jey Uso without winning main events, without winning titles. He's had a lot of almost there. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this show. He needed this. So something that immediately popped into my mind, and I don't think they're going to go this way, but I think it could be cool. We've talked in the past about hot potatoing titles.
Okay.
And 90% of the time, I think it's a bad idea. But with these two, I think it could be good. Jay has just been on this roll, right? He's right there. He's been so good the last year or so. It culminates here. Breaker was overconfident, but he's also this rising star. What if these two were in this relationship? We've seen like best of 7 series kind of rivalries. Something like that where maybe they trade the title 2-3 times over the next 3-4 months. Not week in, week out, but like one win, Jay retains the next match, but he comes back, Breaker beats him again. Then Jay wins it back. Like just these two are pushing each other to be the best. And and maybe they get a tag team out of it at the end of it. Who freaking knows, right? Kind of thing. But I think this could be a rare situation where it works.
I like the idea of the Intercontinental title and the US title for that matter, kind of being like Mr. Right Now. Like kind of like, your heavyweight title, your WWE title, that's for the man, right? But who's the man now? Like who's like super hot that maybe isn't like necessarily going to be the big champion yet or is being built to that? Because the more I think about it, I've kind of thought about like, I don't want the titles to hot potato either. But at the same time, like, I mean, just look at sports in general. It is next to impossible to just go undefeated. It's next to impossible to go on just a long streak. I mean, like, look at any other professional sport, football, baseball, like, the best teams like usually have a win record of what? Like at best, you're talking 750 at best. And that's like, if they're like unstoppable. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that with like the IC title and the US title. Letting that kind of be like the who's the man right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that idea of that being used a little more, not necessarily as like a prop or anything like that, but just like it. Yeah, I think just kind of about being who's hot.
Yeah.
Who's got momentum right now.
Yep.
I like the idea of it kind of being used for that, especially like, because you want to talk about it being a workhorse title. Like if you're using, if it's a workhorse title, like I said, going undefeated is hard and it should be hard. So that's why, like, I think if you got several guys who have a claim to be the IC champion or to be the US champion, that, I think there should be several guys in the wings who at any time could be that champion. And I don't hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think too, what it does is it sets up a feeling of anticipation every time these belts
is defended
are more traditionally defended on these shows, right? Because like, one part that agitated me to no end about Vince McMahon's WWE was how he treated the lower card titles, how they were constantly just thrown away, forgotten about, no matches. I mean, you remember when freaking Dean Ambrose was carrying around the US championship for God knows how long, didn't defend it a single freaking time, just drape the shield in gold. Doesn't matter if they defend their titles. We'll have Roman and Seth do most of the work, right? It was just like really weird. It never really, I never really liked how they've done this. Now, ever since Gunther, who was really a turning of the page for all this, ever since Gunther, the mid card titles have been stupendous.
I think Gunther holding onto that title and Logan Paul holding on to the US title for so long was a resetting of the prestige of these titles.
Yeah.
And now that we've kind of established them in the prestige of that, that they should be considered, now we can start being a little more free with them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. It's certainly going to be a fun time, especially if you are a fan of these belts, because I know there are a lot of people who are just like fans of the Intercontinental Championship in like just matches, anything that surrounds it. So I think it's just a great time for fans of the old Ricky the Dragon Steamboat era fans, who love the mid card titles and stuff. What an incredible time, right? And you also have LA Knight on the U.S. title front over on SmackDown. We're not going to talk about it this week, but that match that LA Knight had with Andrade was excellent, truly excellent, great matchup. And it definitely left a lot of people wondering where things are going to be going from there, because now that feud between Andrade and Carmelo is continuing forward. So you get like the stopgap of Andrade fighting.
They pretty much announced it's a best of 7 now.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get Legado de Fantasmas. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case right now. Could still very well be the case, but who the hell knows? It's still exciting. But from left field, what I did not expect to have happened was the angle, the way that we got to this tag team match at Bad Blood between Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu of the Bloodline. This was nothing less than actual cinema. I mean, it was actual cinema.
Shot cinematically, yeah.
Shot very nicely, so you can make the argument for it. But this was very cool. So to set the stage, Cody and Roman met at Roman's old college, his old university, the Georgia Tech, or is
Georgia
it
Tech?
Yeah, Georgia Tech, where he played for many years. And this is, of course,
really quick, where is Georgia? Is that in Atlanta or nearby, or is it
in Atlanta?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it happens to be in the backyard of one world champion, WWE undisputed champion Cody Rhodes, who's from Atlanta, Georgia.
And the site of Bad Blood.
And the site of Bad Blood. And where all this is going to take place. So first things.
And the new adopted college football team of Sheamus.
Oh, yeah, that too.
On a side note.
Yeah. So this was unexpected, for sure, but there's been so many unique little elements that have been added to this. We'll talk about the Kevin Owens of it all in a second, but first thing, for how this has been framed and for us being a podcast dedicated to wrestling storylines, I would say this is basically like the Super Bowl for us, right? Like, this was really well done, really well shot, really, you kind of set the stakes. Well written as well.
Yes.
Jake, as a writer, how do you feel about the way that this had been kind of broken down?
I really enjoyed it. It really made both of I mean, it felt like a scene in a movie of two mob bosses of separate families coming together and saying, we got to take care of these other guys.
Yeah.
We'll deal with our shit later, but they're a problem for everybody and we got to take them down. And like the points that they were making, like, I mean, were great because Roman has this aura, right? We've talked about it for so long. And you have him rolling in 7 black SUVs deep, stepping out of the car, walking to midfield of his stadium, right? This is my stadium.
Yeah.
You're on my turf. And then Cody rolls up by himself in a luxury sports car, steps out and meets him to say, yeah, this is your field in my city. And I got to be honest, this segment, to me, Cody matched Roman's aura, I thought. And I think that was important. I think that was very important to do, because one of the things that we've talked about is kind of how his title reign's honestly been a little lackluster, right? It's been a little lacking. We've wanted more from it. He's had a lot of, as you said, stopgap matches. But this reminds everyone of the stakes. That's what you got to do. You got to remind everyone what's at stake. And it made, I think it accomplished a lot. It further established that Cody's on the same level as Roman. And I think it further established how much a problem the bloodline is. Because that's another issue that we've all had, is that they just felt like, the Boy Scout branch of the bloodline so far.
Yeah.
But if they're out here having this secret meeting, or whatever, a meeting of the minds to talk about this, they're a bigger threat than we realize. So I thought it did such a good job of building up all the players in this, building up the stakes and all this.
Yeah.
I loved, the only thing, this is just the writer in me, I can't watch something and see a moment and be like, oh man, I wish they'd done this.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish they'd changed is that moment at the end when
this one.
That moment.
I knew you were going to talk about
that moment right there. When he says, "You're in my way," and then he moves out of the way and says, "No, you're in my way in life." I wish, instead of Roman saying that at all, I wish Cody had said, "And I always will be."
Woo!
Way better.
And then him step away and let Roman walk off. That's the only thing that I would, if it had done that, for your consideration, Emmy, that would have been so good. But I mean, it was just, watching that whole thing, it was shot so well. Loved the following them through the streets, and it's just a great story, right? It's that Roman still hasn't really changed, right? It's the story of two champions and how differently they handle their business.
Yeah.
Roman can't help but be a leader. He can't help but be a chief with a tribe, evidenced in him pulling up with this caravan. But Cody's always done it himself. Cody doesn't rely on anyone else. I mean, just those details of how they rolled up to this meeting, and the details of, like I said, of, hey, you're on my turf, and Cody, you're in my city. You merely adopted the dock. I was born in it. That's the vibe it had, right? You came here and you left, but I'm from here. My family has bled and wept on the hallowed grounds of this city. I thought it was so beautifully done. Yeah. I can't talk highly enough about it.
Yeah. I mean, Matt, anything you want to add on it, regarding how you felt? Go for it.
Yes, Your Honor. No, so Jake broke down all the fantastic things about it, and it's 99% fantastic. My critique was actually going to be my 24/7 champion of the week, but I have something else that's just kind of way more unrelated. This is actually with our story. So one thing that I noticed that was so on display here, and this is more tongue-in-cheek and fun, is one big thing in wrestling that has changed over time. And it's because of people like Dusty Rhodes and adopting more acting techniques and things like that into wrestling. Because wrestling in the 80s, 90s, I'm going to come. Hogan's going to come get you, brother. And then even Austin is, oh, hell yeah, coming to kick your MFing ass and everything. And The Rock, big, huge. And then as we've gotten into the 2000s, the 2010s, they've wanted to try to bring in a little bit more subtle, drama and acting. It's been hit or miss, but Cody's a big guy of that. He's taken acting classes, stuff like that. Roman is big into that, the subtlety, the power of stillness. I love all of that. But what has replaced this yelling, screaming promo that is a kind of a bad wrestling acting thing is face schmacting, as I'm going to call it. And is the
Yeah.
He's doing some for the audio listeners. He's doing
like
something with his mouth.
these exaggerated
like
you
you
think you're
tasted
being
something
subtle.
weird.
You think
Yeah.
you're being like it's like, oh, I'm gonna play this subtly, but still let people see it that I'm like frustrated. But I'm like, it's still kind of overacting.
But you look like you look like a dog with peanut butter in its mouth.
And
Yeah.
both
You look like an
Roman
LL
and Cody,
like an LL Cool J fan, you know? No.
with all the close-ups, we're doing a lot. Cody does a lot of the like.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of that is feeling like, because we've talked about wrestling's basically theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in theater, you can't play it for the front row.
No, you got to play it for the cheap seats. Yeah.
And I think that, and that's the difference between, theater acting and film acting. And I think that that's something. We're shooting theater in a cinematic style, and so it's hard, I think, to pull that out of them a little bit. I think someone needs to be there to remind them, hey, we can all see, like, smaller the better.
Everything.
Yeah.
You know, this was going to be my rebook 24/7, but I'm not. But I'll say it now. Are we just
all blowing our?
No. I have multiple, but this one I just thought was funny. I just want to give a shout out to, like, in kayfabe, like in storyline, like, who booked the stadium so that they could
Roman.
like go and do. So you think
Roman's got connects,
Roman
man.
get on the call, get on the horn, be like,
with his
hey,
old
man,
coach or whatever?
I have to have a conversation with this guy who I don't really like.
Coach, I need the field. I need the stadium.
Oh, by the way. I need to drive my 5 SUVs, and he needs to drive his sports car onto the field. Is that okay? Yes.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Of course it is.
Okay.
You're the fucking tribal chief.
Yeah, dude.
Like, what do you need? Got it. You want the band there?
They're like gang bosses, man. It's like,
I just imagine Roman having an intern, like just some intern who's just like scheduling these things for him. The tribal chief.
I would like to book Georgia Tech for Saturday. Yeah. Is that?
Hi, I'm calling on behalf of the tribal chief.
What's the deposit? Okay. Yes. Do you accept? Does it need to be a certified check? Okay, sure. Yeah.
Yes.
And then who's my point of contact? Jerome. Okay, yes.
Jerome.
Can I get his number?
Is he
all right, so I just buzz him about an hour before I need to arrive.
It's just so good. I love it. Man, but this story though, at first, we were talking about how SmackDown was kind of, having a little bit of an issue, and it still is. It still is, right? I want to be very clear here. The issue is still very present. The issue is that Roman, as great as he is, right, has, his presence has really helped to elevate things. But the fact that, Cody coming out of it, like, we've been in this holding pattern and we've been just waiting to see where things go. And it's kind of hard to just like get really into Cody's story as champion when it continues to just be tied to the hip with everything bloodline and Roman and all this stuff. That being said, though, is that a bad thing? Like, is it really a bad thing considering how good all of this has truly been? How we get things like this, like does it diminish Cody's WWE title reign, Matt?
No, this helps.
Yeah, right.
We talked briefly when we were just going up, pull the curtain back before the show went live. We were just going through the run of the show and what we were going to talk about, and talk about how is this something that could they have just done this in an in-ring promo? And I think that would have hurt. That would have just felt like more of the same, and like it would have been fine. It would have been totally serviceable, but this just, I think the amount of production, the gravitas it gave them, upped to the drama of it a little bit. It kind of brought us back to some of that. It brought back a little bit of that Cody Roman magic from Mania time.
Yeah.
Just a hint of it to be like, yeah, these are two heavy hitters and with a big history, and like, let's really add some weight to that. Ironically enough, by stripping away the arena and the fans and everything and just put them in a really big room, but a room.
but that's one thing that Roman did so well during the Thunderdome era. Was like, was he didn't need all that. He didn't need the crowd response because he still was just able to, you know, just hold your attention, right? There's nothing else there except these two. You know, there's no what after every time somebody talks. There's no random chance for whatever. It's just these two. The focus is solely on them.
Yeah.
I think it was a beautiful reintroduction into the feud by exactly like you said, minimalizing everything around it. And also like leaning into the bleeding out more into the mainstream. I mean, the fact that WWE clearly has some kind of relationship right now with Georgia Tech, not just with Roman being an alumni from there, but the fact that, you know, like I said, Sheamus did the guest picker when it was Florida State versus Georgia Tech over in Ireland, and he has since made some appearances since then. So I think they're like, let's keep doing this. Let's keep cultivating this relationship and showing what we can do outside of just our arenas, and go out, you know, and broaden our reach a little bit.
I think have the logo front center right here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, but that's a gorgeous shot. I mean, that's a powerful shot to me because, like there's no crowd, like it's
you got distance between the two of them.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's just it's this was executed so well.
Yeah, it really was. Now, while that whole thing was a narrative treat, okay. What I feel has been just the dessert from this whole thing has been Kevin Owens's response and how things went. So this video airs, and then it shows KO.
It's been a nice sherbet.
Yeah,
just to cleanse the palate a little bit and remind you of this is some other things that are going on.
And we got the title match that KO and Cody had, and we were getting some hints of things, and it didn't happen, and we were like, okay, cool. But then you start to see the justifications, right? Like KO, Randy, Seth, everyone just did everything in their fucking power to remove Roman Reigns from the top of the ladder, the top of the mountain of WWE. It was literally endgame. They did everything they could only for this motherfucker to turn around and team up with Roman to take on a common enemy. And then KO just looked absolutely dejected. And then he was going to say something. And then Tama Tonga and the Bloodline guys came out, and Tama actually kind of liked what he was doing. This weird, like, kind of thing. It was bizarre, but it kind of worked. And then, you know, we get to illustrate how vicious the Bloodline is. They take out DIY in this planned 6-man tag matchup. Street Profits come out to a big crowd pop. It was, you know, quite a main event. With so much focus on Cody and Roman, right? And so much focus on or rather not focus, but the pivoting that we're seeing from the KO storyline, and also what's going on with Tama and the Bloodline here. Where are we going right now with all this stuff? Where are we going with, you know, Bloodline getting a bit more personality, growing a bit more as a team? Because they got to grow more as a team, right? They can't lose this match. This is a big match. They got to win this freaking match, I think, against Roman and Cody. Otherwise, what is the point of the Bloodline? But then you get Roman losing a match. I know. You're back in your Braun J Uso situation here, where you're in kind of like a lose-lose win-win type of joint. But like, where are we going with this? Like, does KO have something to say in this situation?
He absolutely has something to say. Whether he does is another matter entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's clearly not happy. I mean, we're going toward another direction of like Kevin's about to make a heel turn, but is it really a heel turn? Because like you just said, everyone did all this stuff to be sure that he never, ever was near the title picture again. And now you're teaming with this guy.
And now here he is standing next to the guy.
Kevin's Kevin's over here fighting demons. Kevin's over here fighting demons, and you're making a deal with the literal devil. That's how Kevin feels right now. I know that's like he's like, look at all the shit. We're still dealing with the aftermath of what this guy put us through.
Yeah.
And you think that like that he who was the problem is also the solution?
Yeah.
You're out of your fucking mind. Go ahead.
It's just what a great I told you so if the bloodline beats Cody and Roman. For Kevin to be like, frickin' told you. You thought that was going to be, to your point, you thought that was going to be the answer. To turn to the ultimate power of darkness to help you beat these guys. And it didn't work. Like, I frickin' told you. And it furthers that divide and pushes us towards that heel turn.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure all that is running through Kevin's mind is you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And he is seeing, in his mind, Cody Rhodes become a villain.
Yeah, bro, oh shit. Yeah, you're right. You are right. But the problem is that we know that along the horizon, The Rock is somewhere looming about. So it's like, this is something that I think works really well with the title because, you know, it's more KO being like, I have to keep this away from the people who caused so many problems for all of us for so long. And Cody, you just went and just worked with the guy. So, you know, screw you. I want this belt. I need this now. And I'm going to do whatever I need to get this belt away from you. And that's how you get your villain who's justified in his pursuit of gold. I really like that if they go this route. But then let's explore what happens though if Roman and Cody just beat the bloodline straight up at Bad Blood. Right? Like, because that is a possibility. That's
a strong possibility.
Very strong.
I mean, it's Roman's return match. It's your WWE World Champion team. Like, it's very easy to see, but it's the less interesting because I think there's more you could do out of the loss. We've just all pitched kind of. It's almost tougher to call where you go from.
To float some ideas. Who was the individual that Cody Rhodes wanted to give a title shot to? And someone else jumped in line and took it. Solo Sikoa, who lost straight up in a cage match that resulted in all this stuff to begin with. Solo Sikoa, right? But Jacob Fatu has clearly been positioned as the guy who is the powerhouse of the team. Is there a world where something happens where Jacob Fatu gets removed from the match for whatever reason, you know, is not a factor, Solo loses, and then the rest of the team is like, wait a minute, why are we're following, you know, like you could start to build that story of like, does Solo have what it takes to lead this team to, you know, the promised land? Or that could be a pivot from a Roman winning.
A Black Panther style, like fighting the tribal chief to become the tribal chief.
Maybe, but then obviously Roman still continues to be involved in this, right? Because he still considers himself to be the tribal chief. So there's a lot of that. I mean, there are directions that they can go in. Is it compelling though? I don't know.
Yeah, that possibility's there. You have to. I feel like before next year's Mania, I do feel like I'm gonna regret saying this, but like I do feel like you gotta splinter this bloodline group up for good. The remnants, at least. You know, OTC can live on and everything, but I don't see the bloodline being like a.
You don't think this is SmackDown's like Bullet Club Judgment Day type of thing?
I don't think it's one of those that just always is around with different members. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my instinct right now. Maybe in a couple weeks, couple months, I'll hop back on the train. But right now, I don't feel like that.
You know, it's also very reminiscent, weirdly enough, of like NWO and NWO Wolfpack. You know,
A little bit.
It's got a little bit of that vibe going on, and that didn't really settle that well from what my memory serves me. So I don't know. We'll see. But what has been very apparent, though, is that we have seen SmackDown, I think, really jump into high gear. There were some other. Yeah, there were some other smaller stories. We're not gonna be able to have time to get into all of them, but there was Nia now in this situation with Naomi and Bailey that seems to be quite interesting. LA Knight and Andrade and Carmelo, we'll cover that and see if there's any more movement there. Legado del Fantasma, same thing with them. They had a few appearances. There is one person though. Actually, I'm gonna save it. Because, folks, you already know what time it is. We're done. We've yapped about everything.
And they say the art of the segue is done. I appreciate it. I appreciate you just being like, we're done.
Because I don't know if there's anything else that we can add to this, right? We've kind of covered everything we can cover. But this leads me to my nomination. Because it is still connected. It's still kind of kept tethered. And my nomination this week is going to go to
Wait a minute. What happened? You got to do the whole voice change thing. Like, I thought, let's treat this with some respect and some prestige.
It's now time for the Rebooked 24/7 Champion of the Week.
There we go.
And my nomination is going to go to Karrion Kross. Because I love how he's just going around backstage. He's doing is just trying to cause shit. That's all he's doing.
Yeah. He's just a troll.
Is Karrion Kross WWE's resident shit stirrer? Is that
I don't know. With Drew McIntyre on the table, I don't know. That's tough. But I know what you mean.
Because this week he goes up to the Miz and tells him how he needs to be meaner, and he's got to really find that. Basically, he's got to find that mean streak of the Miz again. And then this was actually going to be the other nomination that I had if I didn't want to do Karrion, because the Miz comes out and the poor Miz doesn't get another match again, man. Whenever I see the Miz showing up, he's not getting matches, man. What's going on in my boy? He they're getting screwed. I'm excited to see where this goes. But anyway, that's my nomination. Karrion Kross, WWE's resident shit stirrer. What a douche. Next up, who do we have next? Jake, Matt, who wants to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
My nomination for the 24/7 Champion of the Week. Now, anybody who knows me, I'm not a big sports guy, but if you can see my shirt, I am repping the Chi-Town Bears. And I wish, look, Caleb Williams may indeed save the universe, much like Cody Rhodes did in the WWE universe, but it's been a start. So that's not what we're here. We're not here. The Bears are not my nominee.
Okay.
For the 24/7 Champion of the Week.
Okay, confused.
But a Bears super fan is. And shout out to the absolute revolutionary Seth Rollins, who showed his face in public again at the Bears and Colts game in Indianapolis. They did a thing where I don't know who the guy that was dumped him onto the field in his Bears jersey. He was run off the field by security. And
here it is. I got it. It's
I think it was like maybe a former Colts player or something like that. Dumped him onto the field.
Here's my 24/7 Champion of the Week.
Just coming on in there.
Is former Colts wide receiver T.Y. Hilton, who dumped that bitch ass Bears fan over the barricade and put him on the street with the other Bear fan trash where he belongs.
Wow.
That is my Champion of the Week, is T.Y. Hilton.
Wow.
Doing what any good human being would do and getting that piece of shit out of the stadium.
Bear down, bitch.
Go, Pat,
You know
go.
what? I think we have a
He's
tie.
going to get a cheese head.
Oh,
He's going to get a cheese
he's
head.
going to get a cheese head.
There's-
I'm just gonna.
Has to be, right?
Yeah, more than likely.
He just said, go, Pat, go.
Yeah, I didn't know he was.
Damn
Oh Lord, here we are. He's got his cheese head on.
Stick to Bama.
Oh, aren't you an Alabama fan or something like that?
I
Different
can't
leagues,
be-
I know.
Oh,
I
that's
can't
oh
be
yeah,
a
that's
Packers fan. And
no,
I
it's
have
fair.
told,
it's
have I
fair.
not told you the story of why I'm a Packers fan?
No, why is that?
When I was a kid, my dad had a Packers game on TV, and I said, "Why are their fans wearing cheese on their heads?" And he said, "That's just what they do." And I was like, "That's funny. That's my team now." That is legitimately why I'm a Packers fan.
Amazing.
That is why I'm a Packers fan.
Amazing. Well, I think it's a tie. I think we got to give it to the overall situation. That's what I'm gonna go with. So
Okay.
we're gonna give it to Seth Rollins getting chucked over the barricade by T.Y.
Yes.
Hilton at a football game, and then the security guy. I love how the security guy is like, "You got to go. You
It's like,
got
no,
to you got to go.
get the hell out.
You have to get out of here. You enough's enough." Okay. He played that really well. I'll tell you what though, Seth Rollins, ever the seller.
Yeah.
Ever the
Yeah.
seller. All right, folks. So that is going to do it for us here today. We thank you so much for tuning in for this iteration of Rebooked. You got Dynamite Grand Slam happening all throughout the week this week. We'll be covering all of that and then some. We'll also talk about what's been going on over in TNA. We'll talk about some WWE Bad Blood next week because we're going to be setting up for that pay-per-view. It's going to be wild. It's going to be awesome. But as always, make sure you follow, you subscribe so you can stay up to date on what's been going on with all things Rebook. You can follow us at Rebook Pod across all social media. Make sure you follow Spotify, Apple Podcasts, subscribe, like, review, comment down below. You already know what the deal is. Anyway, we'll catch you next time, folks. Peace. Have a good one. Later.